Because you mean to tell me that I work my ass off all year round, literally pouring my blood, sweat, and cooter cat into what I do, and now Uncle Sam wants a cut of what I've made? Babe, that is heinous.
All right, well, the next thing I want to get your thoughts on is this very frankly comical TikTok from a very famous gay TikToker, Spencewuah, who, Clarkson, he's woke, he's super liberal, but he may be seeing the light at long last. Let's take a listen.
Now that it's tax season, let me talk my... Hi everyone, if you're new, welcome. If you're not new, it's bitch. It's time for the daily scrape! Bitch, honestly, like, where do I even begin? Because you mean to tell me that I work my ass off all year round, literally pouring my blood, sweat, and cooter cat into what I do, and now Uncle Sam wants a cut of what I've made? Babe, that is heinous. And what's even worse is you're using that fat-ass check that you've taken from me, Uncle Sam, to fund projects that I literally didn't sign off on and don't approve of. Also, not to mention the mind complexity of it all. I literally say this every single year, but why does the IRS and the government make doing taxes so unbelievably hard when they know how much we owe them? You mean to tell me you know the exact amount of money I owe you, but you just don't want to tell me? And if I get the calculations wrong and I don't pay enough, I can get sent to federal prison? Babe, you got me all the way. You can also have penalties added to your taxes if you don't pay enough, and they can even add interest to your taxes if you miss a due date. Meanwhile, we have billionaires who are rich as who barely even pay taxes, and that's because the entire system is fucking rigged, and these big corporations are able to dodge these taxes with fancy accountants and loopholes. On top of that, you want me to give you a big-ass chunk of my earnings and then expect me to live off of the small amount of money I have left in this economy? Babe, gas in California is $6, and if you go to the grocery store for some basic necessities, that costs an arm and a leg. Like, I know for a fact if shit were happening in the late 16 or 1700s, we would be up in arms with the US government telling these bitches to give us our money back. And then we have bitches in the older generation that are literally 1 foot in the grave, so I don't even know why they're opening their mouths, being like, well, maybe if you worked harder, you'd actually be able to afford things. Bitch, when you were younger, you were able to buy a plot of land with a quarter and a head of lettuce. I can barely fill up my gas tank without worrying if I'm gonna miss a rent payment. We are not the same. The system is rigged, the government, but I don't want to go to federal prison, so...
Oh my gosh, I love him. I don't even care. I'm obsessed with him now.
That's the thing. We always react to, like, gay TikTokers negatively on this show. But, like, go off, King. This guy is
I know.
based.
I mean, the only thing I disagreed with was when he started dogging on the billionaires for having loopholes. I'm like, well, they contribute a lot more to society than you do, probably. But anyways, that's all his ever conversation. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that people are finally starting to realize that, I guess, I don't even want to say conservative beliefs, but just like sensible beliefs surrounding economics and taxation can be adopted by anybody in the political spectrum. Liberals used to think, conservatively when it comes to tax policy. So I'd love to see more common sense liberals, rise up.
Yeah, but the only problem I have with this is, look, this is fire. This is straight up on point, relatable. The taxes I pay are insane. Almost all the money gets wasted, gets sent to fund things I don't believe in. It's completely spot on. However, people like this tell me they're not going to just lockstep still simp for Bernie the next day. They are. They really are. They are still going to support. He's complaining about $6 gas in California. Well, do you know what causes $6 gas in California where it's $3 everywhere else in the country? Guess what? Progressive policies, massive regulations and taxes and climate change, all sorts of policies. It's like the thing that frustrates me is sometimes they get it, right? Like they're so on TikTok, you see all these insanely based rants about inflation and how nobody can afford anything anymore. And the next TikTok is them saying, money isn't real, just print money. And I'm like, babe, the math isn't mathing. You're getting so close, and then you're ending up all the way back where you started. And that's really frustrating to watch.
It is. And then most of the time it's them demonizing capitalism, not even realizing that it's the opposite of capitalism that's causing these problems. And it's frustrating, and it's lack of education, but also I think it's also due to poor messaging from people on the right, because this proves that some ideas on the right side of the aisle can be popular. It's just we're not presenting them correctly. And I think that's where we have to take accountability of how we're sending our messaging out, because we're so hyper-focused on these social issues. And, the Republican Party is terrible with those, that the otherwise popular ideas aren't even being listened to by people who might actually adopt them.
Yeah, I mean, do you think somebody like Spencer here is really going to be open to modern right-wing messaging that is like so hostile to, I don't know, anything LGBT or anything increasingly, or is just so like Christian nationalist or all these other things that some pockets of the right are embracing? Like, of course not. And so if all they have on offer is the AOC style approach to politics, that's what they'll default into, both because they're not thinking very deeply about the issues, but also because there's a lack of a viable alternative. And so that's what I try to provide in my commentary, right? Is like socially moderate, but lots of right wing actual policy beliefs that a lot more people are open to or can relate to than they can, you know, somebody who thinks that the birth control pill should be illegal, or like you just all these, you know, these crazy trad beliefs that we're seeing all the time. I see these influencers, right-wing influencers, talking about how we need to repeal the 19th Amendment. Like, babe, you sound crazy. I just, and we're not going to make inroads with these people with any sort of messaging like that. But it is still frustrating to me to see them get so close to the point and then it still goes over their head. Like, yes, I agree. You could make everyone could afford things much better if huge chunks of every dollar they earn weren't going to be wasted by the federal government. But y'all are in lockstep support of the problems and politicians who literally want to double or triple that, who want to make it much bigger and much worse. So
Wait, I mean, these are the same people, and I don't want to dog on him because I actually like this video, and I like that we have a positive sentiment towards a creator for once. But these are the same types of creators who will make a video shitting on the United States for not having free healthcare and paid maternity leave and all these things that countries in Europe may have, not realizing that that requires more printing of money, more taxing. And it's like the same policies that you are supporting are causing the problem. So it is frustrating, and I wish that we could just like get a megaphone and scream in their faces. But I mean, they'd still probably not listen.
yeah, and it's also kind of frustrating to hear them rant about like the corporations and the billionaires and how why is it so complicated and all of this. Like, that's actually, he's getting so close to libertarianism and he doesn't realize it, because it's like a very basic principle of libertarianism that complexity is a subsidy, in that like a really complicated tax code allows politicians to hide loopholes for their friends. Whereas if you had like a 10% flat tax, right, there's no need to pay TurboTax, to hire an accountant, to do any of this. There's no need for armies of lawyers and accountants to, you know, find loopholes and how Jeff Bezos can hide his money in the Cayman Islands, or all this stuff they're so mad about is all a product of big government. It really is. And if you actually had limited, narrow government, you wouldn't have any of that. Yet they don't put two and two together. And it's just frustrating. But I do like to see actually common sense messaging actually going viral on TikTok.